I'm going to invite on stage. The first time I really heard of Harjap, I'd seen him on socials loads, so many times, so many different platforms. He's everywhere. But the first time I really heard about Harjap was when he recorded about a 20-minute video. And it was a 20-minute video in a hospital bed. And he spoke so much truth in that video. And I'll get into explore that today. But it moved me. I messaged him straight away as soon as I saw that video, and I thought, this is a guy that has gone through something that if we're not careful, we're susceptible to. If we don't realise it's time to start looking after ourselves, we could all be in that position. And it inspired me so much that day. Just the rawness, the authenticity, the honesty of it all. So, Harjap, please come up stage, and it's time to hear a little bit more about him. Give him a real round. I want to know more about you. I want to know about that 20-minute video. I want to know about your life epiphanies. And I want to hear what you've got to share to this audience today.
Hi guys, big welcome. Sat Sri Akal to everyone. Probably thinking what I'm doing here. I'm thinking the same, but it's not the first time I've thought that when I've been somewhere. It won't be the last probably. So let's tell you about this guy you see on TV, you see on Sky News, your dad's favourite. You're going to take the photos of him and send them to your dad. No one's going to tag me on Facebook or Instagram because they're like, oh, I only took it to show my dad and mum. Right, so the guy at the BBC called the immigration guru. He's even in dubbing in Hindi films now. Right, so let's tell you about it. So mum and dad came here, 60s, 70s, like a lot of your parents probably did. Dad started working in Fords. I was born. A big shout out, I think, to our mums. I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to raise your hand. Does anyone know what a brother sewing machine is? And how many of you lot or your mums have still got one somewhere? Those mums and those sewing machines raised a generation of lawyers, doctors, businessmen, a lot of you who are sitting here. That's what our mums went through, without a word of English, a word of education, no degrees, bringing up kids, looking after their husbands full time, doing the school runs, buying uniforms. Them sewing machines literally bought our school uniforms, bought my books, put me through an education, and got me to uni. Because my dad was too busy working in Fords, and he was too busy paying the bills, sending money back to my granddad, and my dad was an only child. And my mum's only got one brother, or had one brother. So we wasn't the big extended family. And I'm sure that's the same for you lot. And that's our experience as immigrants, right? And kids of immigrants. Went to uni and did law. Now, when I'm asked you lot, why did you do medicine? Why did you do law? Why did you do accounts? And I love the answers, because I've got a passion for it. I love human rights, man, yeah, because I want to do. Do you know why I did law? Because my dad told me to. And he'd watched all these Dharminder films where they dress up as vakils in courts. And he goes, you're going to be a vakil. He said, no one in our family has passed a 10th standard, i.e. that's got a GCSE. And he goes, you're going to be the first one to get a degree, and I want my son to be a lawyer. And I didn't know what a lawyer was, so I said, all right, Dad, as you do, or your alternative is get a clip round the ear. So I thought, better get a degree. Got a degree, studied law, couldn't get a job. When I came out, no one wanted to employ me. So didn't want to employ me. So then I started blaming my dad. And I said, Dad, I'm a Villa law graduate. What am I going to do? I said, I don't want to study anymore. I don't want to pursue law. Dad gave me a shovel. And he goes, son, here you go. You don't need any education for this. Come and work with me. Worked with Dad for a year, using that shovel. And I thought, better go and study, mate. But in there, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. So, actually, ironically, the day I got my job as a trainee was we went to fit windows at a lawyer's. We went to fit windows at a lawyer's. I was doing the windows, and the owner of the firm goes, your son, I need him to answer some phones. And I was really good in my language skills. Answered the phones, and he goes, what's your son doing? He goes, done a law degree. He goes, why is he fitting windows with you? He goes, no one's giving me a job. He goes, I'll give him a job. So from then on, that's how I got my opportunity. literally through God or whatever, or reckoning or manifestation. Otherwise, I was with the shovel. Then, as you do, I qualified, started my own firm. I'm born and bred in Essex in a place called Romford. That's sandwiched between Dagenham and Tilbury. And both of them were like National Front strongholds. Yeah, I was the only Asian in my whole secondary school. Racism, all of that grew up with. Just get a kick in every month, brilliant. Look forward to the bus ride home. Then I went to Kingston Uni and never saw God at me. Right. So, unfortunately, there were no immigrants in Havering. So, where did all my clients start coming from? Southall, Hayes, Hounslow, Birmingham, Gravesend. So I thought, right, if I'm going to open an office, where do you think I'm going to have to go? To the hood. So I went to Southall. And not only did I go to Southall, I went to Old Southall. Havelock Road, King Street, like proper the hood. Went there, started my business. Got married in Birmingham. And after a year after I got married, all of a sudden, I started feeling thirsty at nights. And I thought, better get myself checked out. And then they go, you got diabetes. And then the first thing you do is, didn't know anything, I got diabetes. See, I never had diabetes before I married you. Poor wife, got it in the ear. That's you gave me diabetes, you must have bought this from Birmingham. And all that, little knowing that it was my years of drinking at uni, and my Bacardi days, and my lamb curry days that had actually caused my diabetes. And it's genetic, but no, it's easier to blame the wife when you're newly married. Right, so that's my first thing. So what did I do when I found out I got diabetes? You thought I would have calmed down and learn about it, as you do. In that way, I thought, you know what, this is nothing, doesn't affect me, carry on. Threw myself into my work, and I was telling you this because someone asked about work-life balance. I became a workaholic. 6.5 days I used to work. Sunday afternoons was my day off. Even Saturdays, right, from like 10 o'clock all the way to about 3 o'clock. And if you work till about 3 o'clock, that usually means about 5 anyway, right? So I started at the same time, after many years of marriage, so no conception, no kid, the pressures of the community. Aren't you going to have a baby yet? Does he baby now? And I'm like, where'd you get one from? You know, if it's not happening, it's not happening, right? So you need to do this. You're an only son, and you need to, your dad's an only son. The usual, who are we going to give all this to? You've made all this firm, you've got all this property, you've got your cars and all that. Who are you going to give that to? Pressure, taboo subject. It got to such a stage where we were stigmatized so much that I stopped going to weddings and parties because people wouldn't let us pick up their kids because they thought we were cursed. That's what I had to go through. God can imagine what my wife had to go through. So everyone looking at her like, oh my God, a bit of a curse. And that was a testing time. After 9 years, we had my daughter. So Kushi had a naturally, no IVF, no adoption, whatever, just when we'd given up. She came in, called her Kushi, because that's exactly what she brought into our life. Totally changed my whole view of things. That was 2012. 2 years later, I was walking down a road and I started limping. And I thought, why are you limping, Harjap? And I couldn't get rid of it. And it got to a stage where I couldn't get up and I was on the floor and I couldn't go to the toilet properly. I'd slipped 2 discs in my back. Why? Not because I was lifting weights like Jackie, or like being a power lifter, or like doing sports, because of bad posture and because of travelling. Going once a week to Birmingham from London in a car, going once a week to Leicester, doing 13, 14 flights to India in a year. This was the workaholic. Australia, Canada, America. Slipped 2 discs. Had an operation on my back. That's my first scar. 2 discs out. After that, I thought, right, you need to sort yourself out. Started losing some weight. Got myself into a pretty good fitness routine. Got myself down to about 95 kilograms. From about 130 kilograms to about 95 kilograms I got down to. Started looking good, feeling good about myself. It was a stressful time. We'd go trying for our second child, which we had after about 6-7 miscarriages. Another taboo subject which I will talk about. in our community, which no one else seems to sort of really want to talk about. 3 miscarriages in 18 months, I remember, that we had. It wasn't a good time. Had another child, who's 6 now. So now my kids are 6 and 1. I'm pretty good, feeling good about myself. Still a workaholic, yeah. Then one day, on Thursdays I do the school run. Drop my daughter off on a Thursday. But on Tuesday, this is the same week, I had a jacket potato in Birmingham with cheese and beans. That tells you all about, you need to know about my diet, right, at the time. I had a jacket potato, and you know, like, it gets stuck on your chest, something, and you feel like I've got indigestion. What's bailing that? So like, I came home and I said, Mum, I've got something stuck on my chest here. You know, it must have been that potato. And Mum's cure for everything. This is Mum's cure for everything? Jarbina. Great. And if I'd come in with my hand chopped off, we'd be like Jarbina. So I'm like, alright, Jarbina, man. So then Wednesday, I got up and I thought, still there, and I said, I know what, it's been 2 weeks since I've been to the gym. I'm going to go down the gym. 5k run, sauna, steam, felt a bit better. Wednesday night, Mum was saying, you still got that sort of thing in your chest? I said, yeah, a little bit. So he goes, don't worry, Jarbina. So Jarbina. So Thursday morning, school run. Just as I was about to go, Mum goes, have you still got that chest thing? And I said, yeah. She goes, I'll tell you what, it's a Thursday morning, drop Cushy off at school, go to the hospital, there'll be less of a queue, and you'll be out in a couple of hours, and just get yourself checked out. I was going to go shopping that day, so then I thought, alright, I'll do that. Dropped my daughter off at the hospital, at the school, drove down to the hospital, which is only like about 5 minutes away from the school, parked myself up, walked into a hospital waiting area about this size. First time in my life I've been to West Middlesex Hospital and there's not even a single patient waiting. Not even a single one, not even someone waiting for someone. All the seats were empty. Went straight to the receptionist and I said, oh, I've got this sort of gas oil. And she goes, yeah, it probably is gas. Let's put you on a ECG. 30 minutes later I'm on this machine beeping with the sort of things, stick to your pad, stuck to your chest, if you know what an ECG is. And the doctor goes, no, you look alright, your heart's fine, but because you've said there's something in your chest, we have to take your bloods. So I said, alright, take my bloods. I said, will I be out in about half an hour? He said, yeah, no problem. Half an hour later, I'm just laying on my hospital bed with my phone. What's happened is, there's these doctors that started huddling outside my cubicle, and I'm eavesdropping on their conversation, and one of them's talking about high troponin. So troponin, I've googled it, I don't know what troponin is, I've failed my sciences. Right, so I googled it and it says enzyme released when your heart's under attack. And I thought, what? I said, this can't be right. So I called the doctor over. I said, what's wrong? And he goes, there's something wrong with your heart. I said, you better fix it. I've got a school run at 3 o'clock. That's literally what I said. And this next bit put everything into like, it shook my brain. He goes, this ain't a laughing matter. He goes, we're going to take you into surgery. You better call who you need to call. When he said that, I thought he was having a laugh. I said, what do you mean call that you need to call? He goes, do you have any important people in your life? I said, yeah. He goes, you better call them. And I said, that's what you tell people when they're about to die. Old people, that's what they say when they're in hospital. That we've got to turn the machine off. Oh no, they said, no, suddenly. And he goes, you get it now. I phoned my dad, the dad legged it over there, called my wife, she came. My daughter's still at school. The last time I've seen my daughter is waving bye to her at school, dropped her off. He goes, the doctor goes, I'm going to operate on you within an hour. He goes, if you hadn't walked in today, you would have been one of them cases you hear about where or you know, you left, you die in your sleep, or he closed his eyes and never woke up again. Some of you might have lived through that, yeah, with your family members, but that would have been me when he said that. And I said, right, and my mum was at home with the 1-year-old and she couldn't come. The next bit, I'm a guy who talks for a living, I have conversations for a living, I solve people's problems. I thought, right, before I go into surgery, I need to WhatsApp call my mum, video call. I WhatsApp called her, she picked up. We had an 8-minute conversation where none of us said anything, we just cried to each other. I couldn't get my words out, and I thought, what can I say? I'm 44 with a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old. I'm having a heart attack which is what people who are 70-year-olds have. Been operated on. Can't see my daughter. Yeah? My son's 1, hasn't got a clue what's going on. My dad's with me, 75-year-old dad is sitting there giving me horse like we're going to put them out. It should be the other way around. It should have been the other way around. And I remember I just put the phone down after 8 minutes. She was crying, I was crying, and I thought. And I ended that conversation with 2 words. I said, Jangafe. What'd you say to your mum? That's how you normally end your conversation with your mum, right? Jangafe, okay. Right, so, and they're wheeling me into operating, and they put that camera in you and they knock you out, don't they, with the butterfly needle. At that time, everything, remember this is a workaholic guy, a successful guy. A lot of people, you know who I am and the levels that we're at, right? At that time, nothing mattered. No properties, no car keys, no phones. This is a guy who doesn't go to the toilet without his phone. And I know a lot of you lot don't either, so don't give it large. Right? So this is me. I don't care where my phone was. I didn't care where my iPad was. I didn't care about my firm. Yeah, I've got 50 families to feed in that firm. I didn't care. My last words consciously was like, God, show me tomorrow's sunrise. And all my last thought was, that's all I thought. I thought my kids, they're finished without me. No one to look over after them. Despite my mum and dad and all that being there, I thought it's game over, Harjap. It's game over. And that's my final prayer. And I'm not a God-believing person. I'm not a highly religious person. But that day, I tell you, I was. And, that was the only thing I was holding on to. That God showed me tomorrow's sunrise. Double bypass later. Yeah? And look how lucky this is. Thursday is the only day that the cardio team is on West Middlesex. And I went in on a Thursday. If I'd gone into any other day, they would have had to cart me like an hour away to Hammersmith or somewhere like that, or Chelsea. And that, it's not stable. So, powers that be, whether it's a guy in the sky with a beard, whether it's a he or a she or a they, whether it's a voice or a sound current, whatever it was the universe, it was there that day for me. And it came to bat for me that day. Whether it's good karma, whatever it was blessings of elders, whether it was my mum's cries that were heard. When you're in a hospital bed and you're recovering from an operation, some of you might be there, let's hope none of you have to, you're looking at a ceiling all day. 10 days recovery time looking at a ceiling is a lot of time to think. In my ward around me, Daddy, there was no one under the age of about 65. No one. And they, first thing when I was wheeled in, they looked at me, they go, how old are you? I said, 44. They go, what are you doing here? And I said, you know what? I was thinking the same thing. And I thought and thought and thought. Work-life balance, there was none. Yeah? When you talk about the guilt of not spending time being with your family and working, bro, if you work a lot, like I did, you end up on that hospital bed. And you know all you think about at that time is your family. You don't think about work. You think about, I want to live tomorrow for my family. I'm going to ask you a question, yeah? How much do you love your kids? A lot. If I asked you how many of you would die for your kids, put your hand up. Who would die for their kids? Yeah? Do you know what I thought? I sat on that bed and I thought, why the heck am I dying for my kids? I don't want to die for my kids. I need to live for my kids. You lot don't need to die for your kids. You need to live for your children. They don't want to see you dead. They want to see you live. And what we're doing, we're prioritising everything else. Our mates, our social life, everything at the cost of health. That's what I did. I didn't care. 6 days a week going out eating at curry houses. Then sitting there, then the bottle would come out. Yeah? Being a pub hero. Yeah? 1 or 2 drinks. On a Friday night, God, I've had a stressful TV show today, I'll have a couple of drinks. Eating all the stuff, snacking in between. Biscuits, chocolates, you name it. I was eating it. Never ever had a healthy thought in my life. That heart attack, that is what caused me to make that video. Because I thought this was gas. And I thought, God knows how many people are probably sitting there at home thinking, I've got a bit of gas. we would sleep over it. Trust me, don't sleep over it. If I'd slept over it, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have woken up from that sleep. That's why I made that video. I made it on the last day I was coming out. And it went viral. Like BBC picked it up, Asian Network picked it up, Sky picked it up. And I was like, we need to talk about this. We need to, especially all of us pub heroes, and all of us curry heroes, all of us work-life unbalanced people, workaholics. You know, all of us who don't have time always say, we'll do it tomorrow. Carl Weathers passed away recently, right? His famous line from Rocky is what? There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. If one of you, trust me, there wasn't. I know, you know when everyone says, I'd die for my kids? When you're on the deathbed, about 5 minutes away from your death, do you know what the one thing you want to do is to live? You don't want to die. Trust me, I don't want to die. Forget dying for my kids. I want to live for my kids. That's what I would tell you. Learn to live for your kids and your family. They don't want your death. You don't need to die for them. We'll leave death for another day. Yeah? Let's not run towards that death. Yeah? That's what I would say. Then that's what sparked my whole fitness sort of program. COVID kicked in, stuck at home. Then Juggy contacted me, and Juggy's been contacting me for a while, and I was putting it off. And then I joined CHR, but not doing it properly. So this is a pet hate of mine, yeah? People who ask advice and do exactly the opposite of what you tell them. I call them arseholes. Yeah? That's my definition of arsehole. So what I would get advice, and then I'd do exactly the opposite of what Jack would tell me. Well, and I thought, oh, Jack, you've become an arsehole. All right? And you've become exactly what you're doing it. So since last month, and Chris, who's a coach, is brilliant. And me and him is like, you know, Chris, we have a debate about plastic lunchboxes. And I've always said, I'm not going to become a plastic lunchbox guy. And I was talking about it from the mentality of it, because we're Punjabis, right? We've got a rich lifestyle. We work hard to enjoy ourselves. I do not work hard to eat salad and dhania and minty and gajra. Why, mate? I want a bit of chicken, a bit of lamb curry, with naans and all that, right? But Chris's response was, I don't think he got the Punjabi mindset. He was like, would you be happier eating out of a paper box or on a paper plate? I said, Chris, you're not really getting our sort of angle here, mate. You're not really getting it for me. And then just recently, you know, I've gone up in weight about 5 kilograms, yeah? So gone to about 100, 105 now. And I thought, Harjap, this is going to go on until you face your problem. Just like your clients, until they face the truth, which is not nice and it's bitter, this is going to go on. And until you do that, you're not going to solve it. So, like yourselves, a lot of you are probably waiting to join. I just joined as well. I don't know what's on my journey. I'm starting it. I'd love to talk to people like you, chat to people like yourselves on WhatsApp, and get advice from you, and advise you as to what I know. Yeah, I don't know anything about health and fitness, yeah, but I know stuff about media, I know stuff about making businesses, I know stuff about making money, I know stuff about family, I know stuff about infertility, I know stuff about the struggle it is to bring up children and having children, you know, and I've had to learn this. This is what life has taught me. Each one of you has experience in something which I don't have, yeah, and I probably have experience in something which each one of you doesn't have. And this is what it is. My phrase has always been, and if you take anything away, it doesn't matter what the question is, the answer is always education. Education is the answer to everything. I'm learning, Jackie's educating. Yeah? What do I do on my TV show every Friday? I educate the public. I educate everyone. What do I do when I argue against the types of Nigel Farage and Reece Morgan, all of Richard Tice's? I educate their viewers that immigrants ain't that bad. We're sons and daughters of immigrants. The only thing we've ever done is contributed to this society. We haven't taken out. You know, and don't demonise us. Yeah. Right. Let's get political now. And please vote for me at the next election. But yeah, so this is why I'm on this journey. You know, I interviewed Hrithik Roshan's mother once. And I said, what's the best bit of advice Hrithik Roshan has ever given to you, his mum? And Hrithik Roshan, if you know who he is, he's a god. He's like a Greek god. Anyway, don't pretend, girls, you don't love him just because your husband is sitting there. You all love him. You'd swap your husband in a heartbeat for Hrithik Roshan. I'd swap my wife for Hrithik Roshan. Right. Right. And she goes, Harjap, he said one thing to me. He goes, there's no greater feeling in the world than getting up and wearing any clothes that you want, getting into any clothes that you see, clothing that you see. That's the sort of stage I want. I want a lot of stuff that I want, but I need to rewire my brain. And this is where Jackie and Chris come in so good. It's for them, the first thing they won't talk to you about, it's not about food and diet, the first thing or exercise. They'll talk to you about rewiring your brain, your mindset. This mindset has taken 48 years, yeah, to compile it. It's not going to go in 48 minutes. You'll be lucky to unravel this in a year or two, right? And then stop you from falling into that habit. And this is what CHR is about. It's about rewiring your brain. I'm not even name rewiring your brain. I sat there and thought about it. I thought, that's right. Why is it connected wrong? Our mum and dad didn't educate us because they didn't have any education themselves. You can't blame them for that. Yeah? How much do we educate our kids? We only educate them because we got the privilege of getting an education. But we need to educate each other. And that's what Jackie's doing. And I always believe, leave the job to the experts. Yeah? It's, if a hairdresser has got a pair of scissors, a suey and a dagger, doesn't make him a surgeon. And likewise, I wouldn't go to the surgeon to get my hair cut either. And same thing. Jackie knows what he's doing. He's there, he's done it. I've seen the product of his work. You've seen it today. And if not, go on the website. You can see all them people at the back on that banner over there. That's a product of his work. I know he can do that. The rest is down to me, whether I implement that. And there's no use taking advice away today if you're not ready to implement it. But the way to implement it, how to do it, that's what these guys, Juggy, Chris and his team are here to do. Because it's not something you can do your own. Because if it's something I could have done on my own, I would have done it by now. Because I've done everything else on my own. Yeah? Got to where I am on my own with the backing of my dad, but it's not something me and my dad can do. So I'm here for your help, I'm here for Juggy's help. I'm here to tell you, look, that's me. If I was where I was, minutes from death, I don't want any of you to be there. I don't want any of you to be lying on a bed thinking, that's the worst thought in your mind. And I don't want any of you to think, all I want is my family. When all you've had for the past few years is your family and you haven't devoted them time. Your work wouldn't take 30 minutes to replace you tomorrow if you died. You died today, someone's got your seat on Monday. And all of these business owners who think that my business can't run without me, let me tell you it can. Juggy's can run without Juggy, mine can run without mine, yours can run without you, and it will run, because no one is bigger than the company. You know that? No footballers say it, don't they? No footballer is bigger than the football team. It's the same thing. Your business, you're not bigger than your business, you might have built it, but it's a massive entity now, with lots of people who can take over your place. And if not, they'll learn to take over. So you can work yourself to death, like I did. You know, or you can listen to what I did, and spend time with your family, the ones that really matter. The ones when you're at the bed, who came? Who came when I was at my bedside? When I was having a heart attack? It was my dad, it was my wife, it was my mum on the end of the phone call. None of my colleagues did. They only came after the operation in a week, or we because half of them had to, because they thought if we don't come, he's going to hold it against us at work. You know, just like when you have to go to a sources when people. Yeah, like you thought, I don't go, man. Next time I see him at a wedding, it's going to be embarrassing. I can't say, yeah, I'll be doing bongo and saying, sorry your dad died, man. Sorry your dad died. Tune, brother. Tune. Yeah. It's social obligations that we have to do, right? So, trust me. The only people that are going to come when you're out of need are your family. So the work-life balance is important. It's important, bro. One day you'll be dancing for your family. You'll be dancing for an extra 5 minutes. You've got all them minutes now, don't waste them, that's what I would say. Learn from my journey, learn from my mistakes. I'm here to learn from yours. God knows I'm going to learn from a lot of your mistakes. I sit on Facebook or social media. You know why I'm so active? I look at other people's statuses. The biggest status is one of regret. What to learn from. The biggest status in upbringing, you know what it is? Wish I'd spent more time with my mum. Wish I'd spent more time with my dad. Yeah? Wish I'd spent more time with Flana, with my boy Jaja. Biggest status, biggest burden we carry around. Now, guess what? You've got that time now. Use it wisely. One day you're going to have nothing. You're not going to see a sunset. I've got a second life back. That's the way I see it. I'm not going to mess this one up. I'm not going to mess my first one up. And like I said, I'm not going to die for my kids. I don't want to die for my kids. I'm going to learn to live for them.
journey for Harjap. Yes.
You can go back to that moment you're staring at the hospital ceiling. What's the advice you give yourself today?
Oh man. The advice I'd give to myself when I was 21 or 28 or any time before my heart attack is to look after your health. Watch what you put into your mouth, treat your body properly, be respectable of your body. If you don't respect your body won't respect you. It's quite simple. Yeah, look, I'm not a calorie counting person, right? I'm not a macros person, yeah? I love a beer and a curry as much as the next one of you lot do. I love my uncle brought it. Man, that ass week we can't do it. I'm not going to lie about it. He'll tell me off. I said, yeah, I loved it. It's my life, one of the best moments. I'm a food guy, you know what I mean? I live for food. You take the one thing away. You want me to replace my uncle brought it with, what do they call it? Quinoa and broccoli. What is broccoli anyway? It's like a little tree. I'm not eating none of that stuff. And guess what they then say? Why don't you steam it and put some garnish on it? Yeah, that'll help. That'll really bloody help. That turns it into a lamb curry. But yeah, so my biggest regret is though, I wish I'd really not gone overboard, and I wish I'd done my exercise. I wish I'd balanced my life out. I wish I could go now at the same sort of one level as opposed to go wow and then having to go down and now having to bang up again. Life's never a straight curve anyway, right? Life's always up and down. Always up and down. If your life's a straight curve, something's going wrong. Yeah? And it's during your happy days that you need to worry, someone told me, because bad days come next. And during your bad days, like a lot of you might be at rock bottom now, and I know I was. And when I was at the hospital bed, all I kept thinking, you're at rock bottom now. You know, you're in the hospital. I remember the worst feeling of my life when my daughter came to see me in hospital after she finished school, right, the next day. She saw me, and there was about 50 wires coming out of my body. And she saw me and she got scared, a 6-year-old. And she started crying, and I said to my wife, don't bring her here again until I come home. Don't bring her, I don't want her seeing me like this. A lot of you ladies here, right, when you're talking about heroes, your first hero is your dad. Probably your last one. He's your hero, isn't he? Your dad is your hero. Imagine seeing your hero helpless, with the wires coming out of him, 5 minutes away from death, can't eat, can't pick up anything, can't go to the toilet, got a catheter thing, statues, privates, can't walk around, in a hospital gown, nangapea, in his gacha. It's not what your last view of your dad wants to be, right? Your dad's a majestic figure. And that was one of my worst things. My thing is, right, don't put yourself into a position that you have to sit in a hospital bed. That's all I was thinking. What am I doing here? What am I doing? I need to balance my life. So to answer your question, the advice I would do is look after yourself. Learn what I'm doing now out of majburi. I'm not doing this out of choice. I've done this because I nearly died with my lifestyle. If I hadn't had my heart attack, I'd be in the pub right now. Or I'd be like with guests now, sitting at home having protein. Yeah? I did this because of majburi. You've got a choice. It's up to you. You can yeah? You can either do something with love, or you can get a big beating and do it. A bit like the way we had to study. Yeah? So the best way is just to do it like that, I would think. Just to do it.
Let's get a massive round of applause for that.
I just want to say, look, anyone wants to approach me afterwards, you know, they can add me on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, whatever. I'm more than happy to talk to anyone. I'd love to talk to everyone in this room, because I think we've got something to give each other. And it's so hard to find a group of people, especially up there, who are so open, who can talk about this freely and not be judged for it. I don't judge any of you lot. And Jackie always says, I'm here to help you grow. Bro, you're supposed to help me shrink. Half of us want to shrink. I don't want to grow anymore. I want to stop growing.